let's start off with this conversation around Te Pati Māori. Now, Christopher Luxon was on the AM show this morning, and the reason I'm going to play this one is I was still a little bit unclear what all the hubbub was about. I had some inkling that I heard about data mining and I heard about, $100 food vouchers. Lloyd does quite a good job here at kind of laying it out in layman's terms. So that's why we're watching the AM show's version this morning. It's a good 4-minute clip, but there are a lot of questions and answers asked in this about the need for an inquiry or not. So Prime Minister Christopher Luxon on the AM show this morning.
Yep. So for those who have just heard about this, these are allegations that Manurewa Marae encouraged people to come onto their property to do their census in return for $100 supermarket vouchers or wellbeing packs. That marae was run by Tash Kempsh, who went on to now become the Te Pati Māori MP. The person who is the president of Te Pati Māori is also the person who runs the Waipareta Trust. Now, there's claims that they were mining that census data to then encourage people to vote, because that was a polling station and change from different enrolling. Anyway, they mined the data to encourage people to vote Te Pati Māori is essentially the claim. They did that with some of the vaccination information as well. Now, they both refute those claims. Have I got that right? Is that kind of right?
Yeah, pretty much right. I mean, look, there were allegations middle of last week. They're pretty serious allegations, and what's important is that New Zealanders have trust and confidence in their public institutions, and so we're in very much a fact-finding phase to actually ascertain what exactly did.
Chewy, last night I know you had to clean your mouth out at the end of the show, but how you said you kind of agree with Luxon. I think now I know many of us are thinking, we've heard this idea about independent inquiries before to do with Kāinga Ora, and it didn't seem very independent. However, if we take him at his face value, I don't see a problem. In fact, I think it's the right thing to do to have an independent inquiry. These are actually, pardon me, very, very serious charges, and we need to know what the situation is. And I'm sure that's why Te Pati Māori is welcoming the inquiry as well. So if Te Pati Māori are saying, bring it, let's sort this out, then I think all of us should be going, yeah, okay, bring it, let's sort it out. We do have to trust that it's going to be independent, but the way the Prime Minister is talking in this conversation fills me with a little bit of confidence that it can be actually independent, because this actually is talking about police and that as well. So it's not just, let's see if old mate Bill English can show us how to sell some KO houses. It's a bit more serious than that. So I'm choosing to trust at the moment that they will do the right thing by this inquiry. How do you feel about it, Chewy?
Yeah, look, I feel better about this than anything else that he's said, and like I said last night, part of the problem is the last time that he mentioned an independent inquiry, what he actually meant was independent of the organisation we're investigating.
Yeah.
In this case, he might be making the right choice that it is independent, that a proper investigation is being done, and. Look, we sort of mentioned this from a comment in the chat last night about a Destiny Church angle. From what I've read, that might be firming up.
But at the moment, though, still rumour, not confirmed.
Still rumour, but seeming stronger by the day, almost. So I mean, I think, and if that were to be true, then that's why Te Pati Māori is so confident that they can just go, well, these are disgruntled rebel rousers. With a political entity with an axe to grind. Bring it on. And then, look, if it blows up in Destiny, I am very happy.
Well, an actual full disclosure, people know this anyway, I don't really need to disclose this, but I've already contacted, obviously, Debbie and everybody just to say, we'd love to hear your perspective. I doubt they will. I also know John Tamihere from a previous life. I actually sold him a property about 10 years ago. He bought a property that we had in Auckland. I actually sold it to the Waipareta Trust. So I have contacts, and the last time I asked him to come on, he said, no, I don't think we'll get him to come on either. But we will keep chasing this, because what we're hearing at the moment is very much we're not even really hearing one perspective. We're hearing accusations, and then political parties responding to accusations but can't say anything. So there's a lot not being said at the moment. But however, like Guru kind of kind of puts into a nutshell what we're feeling about independence, because he says independent like the Uffendale report. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. There's lots of things that feel like, we really got to figure this out. But as J-Mac says, if I was Penny, I would want this cleared up as well, because I think it's in this conversation we hear, it's quite a good chat actually. I'll promise I will let it keep going in a minute. But Lloyd is like, I heard dodgy things about that marae pretty much straight after, and there was rumours, and so because what he talks about is there was quite a big swing away from Labor, like a significant enough swing for some people to go, it doesn't mean there's anything there, but if you were racing two cars together and the day after you guys were even, one car was winning by 10 lengths, you'd go, crap, what did they do to that car overnight? Might be completely legit. So this is what the investigation is going to show. And look, Formico says the night agencies involved investigating isn't enough. I think there's something said in this conversation. But remember, don't shoot the messenger, about, for example, Te Pati Māori is not a department. So a lot of the investigations from within government have the ability to investigate departments, not so much the parties, which is potentially why the outside investigation needs to happen, that Mr. Luxon. Now, this could all be political theatre and this all could be culture war stuff. We don't know. But at the minute, we can only judge on the information we have to hand today. And the information we have to hand today gives me cautious optimism that this independent investigation is above board. Is that fair, Chewie?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, what that means is we can change our mind tomorrow if we want, because that's cautious optimism. I'll keep going.
Did happen. There's two parts to it. The first is the police and the privacy commissioner have compelling powers, or what are called compelling powers, so that they can actually talk to third parties involved in that. So the trust and the marae. Equally, the independent government agencies that have engagement with the data have actually also launched their individual inquiries. I don't think that that's enough. I don't think an individual agency looking at and reviewing its own activity is sufficient, and therefore that's why I put in place yesterday a Public Service Commission, which is an independent body to look at this suite of government agency actions and responses to it. And what are we trying to do there? Three things. One is make sure that while there's a series of individual agency investigations going on that could be quite narrow in scope, irrelevant to that particular agency, that I can get reassured that the sum of all of the government agency activity was appropriate. The second thing is make sure that New Zealanders can know that their data is going to be managed appropriately, the safeguards are being used, and I want to find that out whether that has been the case with the agencies. And the third thing is conflicts of interest, so that actually if those allegations are true, you've got data moving through a series of organisations, in part because people are wearing multiple hats, and so we need to understand whether conflicts of interest, real or perceived, have been managed appropriately. So that's the two things going on. One is the police and the privacy commissioner investigation will continue. It's important that this investigation doesn't cut across that, and I'm focused very much on the government agency responses and having an independent, arm's length, objective review to make sure the response is right. Why? Because I want New Zealanders to have trust in it.
So that's the thing where I know many people, in fact, there's lots of people in the chat saying, hit job. Yeah, you might be right. Right, like we're never going to stand on a hill today and say absolutely 100%. But it's the language of independent, arm's length, etc. That makes you kind of go, yeah. But we've seen your inquiries before, Mr. Luxon, and the ones that you wanted to share in the background, you hooked up with Bill English, and the ones you didn't want to share, like the Uffendale report, stayed hidden away. So there has to be an element of trust taken here, and all I'll say is we shall see. Lots of people talking about destiny, lots of people talking about a hit job in the chats. Yeah, so as we've said, I've got no evidence to say any of you are wrong, but I guess at the moment we have no evidence to say that you're right either, and that's what one would hope an independent thing will show us. I think
what it boils down to is, as we said last night, Te Pati Māori said that they welcome it. Yep, sure, it might be the only sensible thing that they can say, but they have welcomed it. And then you've got Luxon doing this, and you've got Chippy saying it's concerning as well. Look, all the ducks are lining up there that everybody wants this cleared up. That has got to be a good thing. Yes, the timing kind of sucks because there's a bunch of other stuff going on. I forget his name, but the national MP with his I forgot about it money. Look, that's a police investigation now.
He's a costly problem, that guy.
Is it costly? Because I thought Costly was the guy that had the apartment.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about the 130-something thousand. Yeah.
$178,000 that
Yep.
was that he forgot to declare.
Yep.
That is a police investigation.
Yep.
So that is being investigated as under electoral law by the police as well. So I think that's good, because it's a fuckload of money. And then the costly thing that more lines up when we talk about tit for tat or dirty politics or that sort of thing. It is very suspicious to me that the costly thing was this morning was Kieran McAnulty being dragged into the same thing, which we're going to discuss in a little bit.
We will talk about.
Yeah.
We will talk about that. The other thing to obviously think about, and like what we're doing here, I guess, is honest opinion. If you're looking at, for example, libel laws, not even honest held belief, but honest opinion, is there could also be a rogue element within a political party that did something outside the remit of what the party then said. So there's probably two options. Te Pati Māori done something completely wrong. Te Pati Māori done nothing wrong at all. Option 3 could be Te Pati Māori did nothing wrong. Independent decisions were made by a third party. And I'm not casting these aspersions, but I'm just thinking about an individual around the bounds and out the back door, and Te Pati Māori not knowing about anything. Which is probably what this independent review will hopefully find, along with, as people are saying in the chat, the 9 other reviews.
Yeah.
All right, so keep going. Oh no, sorry.
I just want to highlight there's a little side discussion happening in the chat, and I'm not going to put it up on screen, but one of our regulars who sometimes disagrees with us and others in the chat.
What?
Because I don't see anything wrong with what Te Pati Māori have done. I often bribed people to vote the way I wanted to by threatening their jobs, their accommodation, or being cut out of wills. Holy shit, my dude! Like I am obviously very, very left, and I remember having a lot of discussions with workmates that may have been voting for their last time, and I was so careful. I wanted them to vote, but I absolutely didn't want to influence them. To the point of just going, well, this is the way that I think, and it works for me, but you need to make up your own mind to the point where you shouldn't vote the way that I say I'm voting just because I'm the one that's telling you about it, and you shouldn't vote the way that your parents are saying. Like, fucking hell, man, you bribe people to vote for the party you want them to vote for? Like, from an ethical point of view, you're okay with that? If you are, there's a very clear difference there.
Are you
very, very clear?
A question, not your real job, but like this job. Do you think you're in the right line of work then if you don't want to convince people to vote a certain way?
Well, I mean, look, that's a fair question. But no, what I'm talking about is I was working with a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
They saw my passion for politics and they were like, hey, Chewy, I saw this in the news. What do you think? And then when the election came around, it was like, I've never voted before, Chewy. What do you think I should do?
Yeah.
And it would be very easy
singing,
for me to go.
Being green. It's not easy being green.
I could have sat there and gone, look, I read, I'm only going to talk to you about what I believe, and these are the parties that I believe you should vote for, and that sort of thing. But I encourage these people to go out and look at things that mattered to them.
Yeah.
And then look at what those parties were saying about those issues, or maybe it was a single issue, or that sort of thing. I didn't want to influence them in their first election. When you come to a show like this, where, as we've said many times, our bias is very clear. We're on the left. We'll talk about left issues. Rowdy, 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 rah. Make no mistake. I'm here to radicalize you. I need more bodies on the barricades, people. That's what we're doing. I'm not hiding it. What I'm saying is it's slightly different.
Very good. Very good. Let me just play some more of this clip. Let's get on this bit.
In the public institutions.
I mean, rumours were circulating about dodgy things going on at Manurewa Marae regarding this pretty much the day after the election, because the swing from Peony Hennaday to Tash Kemp was so huge from the election day to when the final results came out. When did you first hear about things not being okay there?
Well,
When
look,
did you first hear the rumours?
I heard the first story, which was around through the Electoral Commission around about the time of the election or just after the election, about treating, I think it was the story. And then obviously the story and the allegations that broke in the middle of last week.
Okay.
So that means Luxon's hasn't been an ongoing persistent rumour around the place. There was some talk because there was, to be honest with you, if you have a shock upset kind of result, there probably is always going to be some talk, be it valid or not. So then have some talk around the election time and then what has it been, 8 months later, have talk again? That doesn't sound like a persistent and concerning rumour. But again, have no evidence one way or the other to say what that was. But just if it was something more serious, you'd expect it to be on and on and on, and probably come up in the house. There's jabs in the house if people knew about things, or don't know.
Yeah, I have a real problem with the way that he phrased that, to be honest.
Okay.
Someone on the news talking about persistent rumours and something like that.
Oh, you're talking about Lloyd?
Yeah, Lloyd needs to watch his line, I think, there. That was almost like setting up a leading question or building a perception of something from a newsreader. Like, it's just, or a presenter. I don't know.
That
Made me
almost
feel
sounds
a
like
little
you're
bit yucky.
Makes me sound like you're thinking like you're almost agreeing with Luxon for a second time in 2 nights, Joey.
I also am going to acknowledge the fact that not more than 10 minutes ago I was talking about rumours about Destiny Church. So maybe I shouldn't throw stones.
Very good. Well done, sir. So you're growing, look, my boy's growing up. You're getting it.
I'm growing as a person, Pat. Yeah, you've got a birthday coming up. You've got to reevaluate.
Well, again, whether the allegations are true or not true, it's important that there is a real, dispassionate, objective investigation, because that's in fairness to all parties involved. And so that's why I want to make sure that it's pretty objective. It's arm's length.
You don't like this?
No, I don't like it when I fucking agree with it. Like, I don't believe him, but the words he's saying are right.
So in other words, in 3 months from now, you'll know if this was genuine or not. So that'll be then the time to feel icky or not.
If it's done appropriately and independently, so that we've got that trust and confidence.
Did the Electoral Commission not do enough straight away if they'd heard about treating and giving people $100 pack and save vouchers and whatnot to come in?
Well, that's up to them as an independent body to make sure that electoral law was complied with. That's a decision that they get involved with in a number of issues. That's up to them to run that. Again, the Public Service Commissioner will look at the response of all the agencies across government.
There you go. So that's pretty much the setup. And like I said, I think it was quite a good kind of chitty chat about the whole situation. It doesn't really give us anything other than Luxon saying we are going to be independent. Those of us who don't trust Luxon going, I hope so. And Lloyd kind of going, what the fuck's going on here? Can you explain it to us? That's sort of what the conversation was. I can see some hardcorers in the chat, though, more power to you, team, who are just like, no, they're wrong. Te Pati Māori's right. Yeah. It's a hit job. And I mean, I'm not going to challenge any of you. I've got no idea. I hope you're right. Let me put it that way. I hope you're
there's
right.
there's a lot of line walking here as well. Like they talk about these enticements to vote. Is it $100 pack and save gift voucher for coming down and voting, or is it $100 pack and save voucher for voting for a particular party? That's a very thin line.
Yeah. Or is it something to do with COVID? Come and get COVID and we'll give you $100. Because part of the accusations are some of the COVID information was data mines are then used to get to people to come and vote Te Pati Māori. So that's incredibly serious. I know last night we were a bit like, what's really going on here? But if they're using privileged and private information from that kind of mass rollout and then data mining it so they can target people that they think they can get to vote for TPM, if that was the case, that's why there has to be some investigation. That's huge. I believe that's probably one of the reasons the police is involved. It's probably criminal, those allegations.
And look, at that point, it's all underway. The Prime Minister's announced that I'd be much happier if this disappears out of the cycle until we get an answer. If Luxon keeps on banging this drum as if it's the biggest distraction out there, then I become more and more suspicious the longer it goes on. He should be fronting interviews about the other things going on.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like, I mean, even because you've got this gradient of thing, right? It could be a valid story that everything they're saying needs to be done, but he could also hyper inflate it to make sure that we don't see what's happening in the wings either. So, you know, it can be a valid conversation that he just leads every cabinet time with, every press interview with, to try and go, squirrel, look away. So we have to keep an eye on that. You always say, like in those long weekends on the Friday nights, what are they passing in Parliament? What are they trying to get through while all the political reporters are already down the bar having a drink, sort of thing. I'm not saying it is that, but we need to be aware to make sure it's not that.